Are you coming then? Let's go and have a chat about the Sony ZV-1, or the ZV-1 if you happen to live in America. Well, first up, this little camera, which is marketed as a camera designed for vloggers, is it any good for other kind of video? You know, video such as mounting it on as a tripod for sort of scenic shots, or using it on a gimbal, you know, that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to let you be the judge of that. I'm going to put a small film on now, which I recorded last week, taken using the Sony ZV-1 on a tripod about 5:30 in the morning. Have a look, see what you think. I shot it in 4K. I think the quality is pretty good, but you know, you may think differently. So, who is the Sony ZV-1 designed for? Well, obviously it's marketed as a vlogger's camera, but you know, really, I think it appeals to a lot of people. It appeals to a family maybe who wants a small compact camera which can take decent stills, but ultimately want to shoot video. Because let's face it, everybody nowadays uses their phone for taking the still photos. And you know, the Sony ZV-1 does video very, very well. The audio quality is good. It's fairly stable. You know, I photographed my kids, I did some slow motion stuff, and you know, it works, it does it faultless. Really, you can't complain. So we know they've nailed it for the sort of casual user. But what about vloggers? You know, who it's actually designed for? Is the Sony ZV-1 a vlogger's camera? And I think ultimately, of course, it is in some ways. I've used a few camera systems in the past for this sort of stuff, and whilst I don't really vlog, I don't really consider myself a vlogger. I think the main thing that's really put me off is the fact that I have to get out my fairly chunky sized camera. You know, I was previously using a Canon EOS M50, and that was quite a big camera really. Especially when you put the mic on, it starts to look huge. But with Sony ZV-1, you've got a small pocketable camera which you can pull out your pocket, open the screen, and bang, it's good to go. You know, it's recording straight away. But what lets down these sort of cameras all the time is really audio. You know, you need to have decent audio, and if it doesn't have decent audio, it's a fail, it's a total fail. And I think this does a remarkably good job. Considering the size, there's nothing like it on the market at the moment, I don't think. So, is it a vlogger's camera? Audio-wise, yes. But it's 24mm equivalent on the zoom lens, which means it's a bit tight. Especially if you're shooting 4K. So I'm shooting at 1080 here. I'm holding it handheld, you know, so you can get an idea how it's working. I've got it on a small mini tripod. And personally, I don't think it's too bad. I think it's okay. But I know some vloggers prefer more of the scene in. For me, it's fine. For what I want to do, it's fine. But for a dedicated vlogger, not so sure. So what's the Sony ZV-1 like to use? You know, I'll be honest, if you're willing to let the camera do the majority of the work, it's great, faultless. You literally flip open the screen, press the big red button on top, and it starts filming. It does video very well. Stills is a different matter. I tried it for some still shots. Whilst the quality is there, it can produce good stills. It's not a photographer's camera. It's designed for video, and that's what it does well. It does video very, very well. Of course, there are downsides to using small cameras, and the reality is, if your camera's small, the controls are going to be small, and that makes the Sony ZV-1 a fiddly camera to use. I'll be honest, you know, if you're just flipping it over and recording yourself, it's brilliant. You know, I'm walking around my local nature reserve here, and there's absolutely no issues. Nice and simple. But if you want to start doing something a bit more complicated, then it gets a bit of a faff. Buttons are small, screen's small, you know, but basically everything's small. But that's what makes it a good walk around vlogging camera, isn't it? Because everything's small, nice and compact, fits in your pocket. Have I mentioned that before? Because that, for me, is the reason why I bought it. It fits in your pocket, it really does. So why did I buy the Sony ZV-1? I haven't been given this camera to use. Sony have not lent it to me. Nobody's lent it to me. I used my money and went out and purchased it. And to be honest, I've been waiting for a camera like this for a while. I've been waiting for a camera that's small, compact, quick to use. You know, if I'm doing any serious sort of filming, I'm going to use either my Canon ESR or my Fujifilm X-T3. So I wanted something to supplement it that could actually work alongside it. But I also wanted something with good audio and a flip-out screen so I could actually see my face. The Sony ZV-1 ticks all of those boxes, and it does them well. It's small, it's compact. The sound's good, the audio's really good. I'm really impressed with the audio. The video quality's good. Face tracking's good. For a pull out and use alongside a big camera, it works really, really well. For me, would it replace a DSLR or a mirrorless camera? No, not a chance. The video I captured earlier was shot using the ZV-1. Was it a pleasure to shoot? You know what, it was actually enjoyable, but I went back the next day and I reshot it again using the Fujifilm X-T3, and the results of that are actually on this channel. And that was far more fun, far easier. And my one complaint I have about this little Sony is I want to shoot in 4K because I want post-processing power, so you know I can sort of digitally pan and stuff like that. And as soon as you switch to 4K, you have a crop, and that crop makes it a little bit tight. So I think 1080 is the way to go with this little camera. I did do 4K, and it worked to a degree, but it was far easier when I went back with the Fujifilm X-T3 and used my 16-80 on it. But you know, I've also got a Canon ESR, and that's got a crop in 4K. So again, I wouldn't use that for 4K, I'd use the Fuji. You know, tools for the job. It's all about having tools for the job. I've got a friend in New Zealand, and he's looking for a little camera, and he's abseiling. So I was talking to him, and basically I suggested this camera, and he went, no, it won't last 5 minutes. So he's gone for a little action camera. And it makes sense. It's all about having the correct tool for the job. For me, the Sony ZV-1 is the best tool to yank out your pocket, walk around, and to shoot quick stuff. But if you want to shoot anything serious, get out a proper camera. So if you've enjoyed this video, please press the like button. And if you'd like to see more content from telephoto.tv, hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot. Hopefully see you soon. Bye.